Alright, so I'm going to work on trailer loading today. I just set up a camera and then I'm going to do the voiceover here so we can kind of go through what it is because my microphone wasn't working. But this is my makeover horse for 2018. Her name's Groovy Dancer. She's a 7-year-old off the track thoroughbred. And when I got her, she hopped right into the trailer. And then we practiced some trailer loading, and then she was like, no, don't really want to go back in there, because I needed to take her to the vet and get her coggins pulled, and I was practicing before that, and I was like, oh, it's not going to be a big deal because she hopped right in when I got her. Well, that was not true. So I brought her up now, and already she was, like, looking out to the side. That's why I'm like, all right, well, let's go take care of this. And she was rushing ahead of me here, so I just made her take a step back. But I'm just going to take her out back to her pasture, so this trailer is over, like from this pasture, it's to the left and then it's down a little bit. So that's why she's like looking over, in the very first part, very first clip here. She's like looking to where she wants to go. So I'm like, all right, like she wasn't even trying. She didn't she kind of sniffed the floor, but she didn't want to like put a foot up. And this horse walked right into my trailer, same exact trailer when I got her about 2 weeks ago. So I'm just like, all right, well, let's go. She's just got a magnet, and lots of horses don't want to get in the trailer because of their magnets, and so I'm just going to take care of it from the beginning. So this is her pasture. It's right next to my other OTTB, and he's next door. So I'm just going to work on the lunging lesson. So I've never worked on the lunging lesson. She's been in the round pen, but she's not been lunged, so it's going to look a little messy. Like here, she does not want to yield her hindquarters, so I'm going to hold, keep holding, and I'm just going to kind of pull or reel her in. There we go. So she does have a tendency to want to pull back, as you can see there. So she's going to be stiff, and she's going to be tight on the rope, and she's going to pull, and she's not going to want to turn. That's fine. So I didn't need to teach her the lesson. I wasn't planning on teaching it to her. She was really pulling on me there. Separately. So she's just going to learn now, so she can learn trailer loading and lunging at the same time. But it's just, like, she's, like, taking off here. So she went out really close to me and had her hip pulled toward me, so I'm just yielding the hindquarters. And she's not responding to the light pressure, so there's the light pressure, there's the whip. That was better. Her, like, inclination is just go forward, run forward, and that's pretty normal, especially for a racehorse. But I'm just sending her, and trying to work on the balance lunging. So as like in other videos, I want her to go around me at a walk or a trot. And right now, actually, I do want her to trot or canter, because this is going to be, it needs to be intense. So her options are go stand nicely and quietly in the trailer and rest, or you can go back to your field and we can trot around, maybe canter around, and learn how to lunge. So usually I start learning to lunge at a walk, and I will do that with her, like, formally, but for now she's just gonna learn how to do it. And I'm just trying to get her balanced on the circle. So like right there, her hips were pointed toward me, so I'm yielding her hindquarters. She doesn't want to yield, and then I just change my hands and push her the other way. So she just wants to kind of like slide by me really quick and have her head turned out to the outside and her hips toward me. So I'm just yielding her hips every time they're pointed toward me. That was much better. So it's gonna look messy in the beginning there. That was a nice send off, because she doesn't know how to respond to that pressure, so I really have to increase it for her to listen. So there, that's getting better. I want that hind leg to cross. There. Okay, so I'm just going to do a few minutes of it. Just make sure it's enough to where the horse has a reason to not want to go back to the magnet. So we're going to head back, and this is just, we're really making sure this is a place of rest. So it's like, all right, you want to come in the trailer? Like, I'm going to put like a little bit of pressure on the lead rope to ask her to come forward. See, she's looking over to her pasture. But compared to the lunging, like, it should be not very much. So all I'm doing here is I lead her up toward the trailer, I hop in, and then I'm going to very gently have like leading pressure as you would leading on the halter to ask her to go forward. I'm just going to hold that until she leans forward or steps forward, and then I release. If she doesn't, I'm just going to hold and wait, and then I'll slowly increase it until she moves forward. But in comparative pressures, this is a lot less than running back to the barn. So she's still looking. Like, lots of people miss that. They're like, oh, they don't want to go to the trailer. But from here, her pasture is on the right side of the camera. There's another pasture on the left side of the camera. She never looks left. She's looking the other way. There she lifted her feet, so I'm going to cluck and I'm going to reward her. So I'm telling her in every way I can possibly that this is the best effort. When you pick that foot up, you're going to get clucked. So clucked and rewarded that try. She was lifting up that left front foot. So I'm going to be super gentle at the trailer as much as I possibly can be. There she's trying. She's pawing. Like before the first time she came out here, so I clucked when she had that foot raised up, and then I give her a little bit of grain. And when she first came out here, she was just not trying at all. She was just like, no. But now she's actually like picking up those feet. So every time she's picking up those feet, I'm clucking and rewarding. And I'm just going to build on it. So I'm going to be a little bit stricter with her because I know she can load. She hopped right in my trailer when I got her. And if the ride over here scared her, I'm not sure. But I know she knows how. She just doesn't want to. So I'm going to ask a little bit more than I would like a horse that's never done this before. And I'm going to ask more because I know she doesn't want to try sometimes. Right now she is. The first time she brought her over, she's not. So every time she turns her head, I'm going to put some pressure, and I'm going to ask her to step in the trailer. So be like, oh yeah, you want to look over there? Whenever you look over there, you're going to have to come to the trailer. When she's standing straight, there's no pressure. Now, if your horse isn't looking off, obviously, you got to put pressure on them sometime, but you just gently like increase the pressure on the halter until they come forward. And that's overall, that's the amount of pressure I want to. That's my goal, is to just be able to load them off of that. But sometimes you do have to go and lunge them. Like Rhett and Apollo both get on the trailer without any lunging. That was in their training, obviously not now, but it was just all on positive reinforcement. She just needed a little bit more of a reason to want to get in. So I'm also just kind of letting her rest here because she was blowing a little bit and she's trying with her front feet. So I'm letting her hang out here. So trailer loading it's a mixture of many things. So you have many like tools, and you can use any of these tools. It's just with experience you learn how to use them. So she's resting here. So she went and worked in the see, she's also trying. She leaned forward, picked up that foot, and then she kind of stepped back and was like, oh, maybe not, but she is trying. So we can have the lunging near their magnet, which works well, but it's kind of one of the higher level of training. Like it puts a lot of pressure on them. And then the lead rope pressure, obviously, and then I also can get my stick and kind of tap her on the butt, and then I also have the positive reinforcement. So I have many different things that I can use to get her on the trailer. It's just using those at a good time. So she's standing there, I barely asked, and she did give me a response on the release. So I barely asked. She leaned forward, picked her foot up, that's her response. So I was clicking those first like foot lifts there a minute ago, and now I'm not going to. I'm going to ask for a little bit more. I want her to really step on the trailer or lift her leg up more, because she's just kind of like, pick my foot up. And like if this was just like a baby who's learning how to do this, I'd be like, okay, that's a good try. But really for her, from easy loader to this, like she can try a little bit harder. So my trailer is a 3-horse. I have the first divider up because I have the side door open, and my goal here is just to make it as open and as airy as possible. Obviously it's already that because it's not really closed in, but I opened the side door so she could see up, but I don't want to do that if I'm putting her in the front so they don't come out the front door. That'd be bad. But so that's why I have the divider up, so she can see the daylight in front of her, and that helps a lot of horses while they're learning to load. So she's looking out. I'm just going to hold this pressure here and wait for her. So she wasn't responding, so I'm going to do the same there. Same thing that I did like with leading. Horse doesn't want to lead forward. You kind of pull them to the side, and then you can have them go forward. So I also back her up. So she moved forward, and be like, okay, cool. So now let's back up. Because then it's not, lots of horses get stuck when it's come up to the trailer and then pull, and there's tons of pressure, and then they feel like they can't leave. And then they get scared. So I had her back up, be like, yeah, you can move around, it's okay. And then try again. There, she tried harder that time. So I'm increasing the pressure a little bit faster because she kind of stopped trying for a little bit. It's like she was like picking up her feet. Now she's like, I don't want to. So I'm just pulling her to the side here. Pull her to both sides. As long as you don't release the pressure, it's just kind of one of those leading tricks. I just want her to come forward off of that. So you can see her looking over, like out of the side of her eye on the right side. She was looking to where she wants to be. They have a tell. Horses are very honest. So I'm just going to keep this pressure up. And she also pulls back, so she's learned that if she pulls, she can kind of get out of things here. So I asked her nicely, and she just didn't want to give me anything else. So she's kind of gotten to this point. And you don't want to just give up and like be like, oh, she's not coming forward. There, she came forward. So she learned, like, pulling on this is not gonna be good. So I'm not gonna go lunge her. I'm just gonna get my stick here. But that also gave her a moment to kind of back off the trailer. So she came forward, but then, oh, I can back off and I'm not gonna die. But I'm just gonna use this stick here because she was getting a little. There we go. She tried much harder, so I'm gonna cluck and give her a reward. She was just getting really sticky there, and so I was gonna either tap on her, and then if that wasn't working, I was gonna go lunge her again. I don't like to do tons of lunging, and it was a little wet here, so I don't want to lunge her too much on the slippery ground. But back to the trailer, I do want to make it as open as possible, and then once she's really cool with this, I can shut that door, and then I can move the dividers, and I can have her go all the way in the front, and then we can work on standing there while I shut the dividers, and then shutting the back, and all that stuff. But this is just the very beginning. So she's picking up her front leg here. So I clucked and rewarded. And trailer loading is a lot of a waiting game. I'm not pulling on her here. I'm just letting her figure it out. Because I don't want to come up and she's got tons of pressure next to the trailer. So I want some of it to be relaxing. So I'm letting her chew and just stand by the trailer. It's not a big deal. And just hang out before I ask her to step forward again. I do have front boots on her. She's not the most graceful, and she was doing that pawing thing. I practiced loading in the trailer, I think, once before I filmed this. And she would do that, and she would kind of kick at the front. And I'm like, okay, well, she probably doesn't want to lift her foot up if she's smacking her legs on there. So I just put some boots up there so she could explore it with her front feet without hurting herself. So it's just a fine balance of pressure and release. She's still chewing, so I'm just gonna let her hang out. And she's just kind of picking up the drop grain on the bottom of the trailer. Like, that's totally fine. She was trying. She can just hang out and relax. Like, I don't want to put a ton of pressure on the trailer, but I want enough to where she responds to it and she moves forward. So it's one of those balancing acts. But I'll let her do this for a few minutes, and then I'll ask her to move forward again very gently. And she moved forward. She's sticky with those front feet, but she tried with the back, so released. There, she held that foot up. That was nice. Because she went from like pawing and like barely lifting to kind of holding that left front up. So she's thinking it through. Because the one I did before this, she would just go up to the trailer and just plant her feet. And she was like, no. And I had to take her back, and I think she had to lunge in her pasture 3 or 4 times before I got her to just put a foot in the trailer. So my goal for this lesson is just one front feet. Any front feet in the trailer is my goal. I'm going to start small since she was so like against getting in here last time. My goal is not to get her all the way in. So it'd be great if she did, but I'm just going to get one part of the horse first, and then it's easier to get the second half later. Gently asking her to go forward. She tried, so I'm going to ask again when she backs up. There, she's trying again, and then she'll back up, and I'll ask again gently. And she tried again, and then she backs up, and then I ask again, and it's kind of like a back and forth until she tries a little harder. That's better. So I cluck and reward her for holding that leg up a little bit longer. So you gotta always increase your criteria. So she went to kind of like lifting the front feet to like pawing to holding it up, and now I'm gonna really wait till she sets it on the trailer, like on the trailer floor, and you kind of just, you reward that a couple times, and then you don't, and then you ask for something a little bit harder, and then you reward that, and then you keep moving on. But you do it in little steps and little stages. It's not like from the beginning, I'm like, okay, I want a foot in the trailer, because then you're not finding an easy starting place, because I want her to feel like she's doing good the whole time. So there, she's holding it up better, but now I'm going to kind of increase criteria. I want that hoof to kind of touch the floor. So I gently lift up, she comes forward, I release. So I'm looking for a bigger try from her to cluck from. And then just like regular try, like there when she was just holding her foot up, I'm going to release. But the ones where she's like, she tried extra hard, that's when I'm going to cluck and give her a handful of grain. So she's looking over, pressure. There, she's trying. So I'm clucking her. She was holding her foot up, and so she moved on, like she'd hold it up, but now she's kind of holding it and leaning forward more. So I was like, yeah, you're going forward more. That's what we want. So I cluck and reward her. And then I'm just going to let her nibble up the grain on the floor. But it's always very progressive. I don't want to go backwards and be like, oh yeah, like you barely lifted your foot, and keep rewarding that, because that's all they're going to give you. You got to ask for more, a little bit at a time. So now she's going to look that way, because my other gelding's out there. She's like leaning on her front feet and just getting her back feet really close. And the step up is not an enormous step up. As you can see, it's like 6 inches or 8 inches or something, but she can definitely do it. And like lots of horses are used to different trailers. Like they got to get used to going in the trailer versus a ramp or a step up. It doesn't really matter. Like they got to go in there. They have to have that go forward cue. So there, she's holding that foot up, so I'm going to cluck. Good. That was the longest she held that up, so I'm going to cluck and reward her. And then I'm going to back her out of the trailer. So I'm going to give her a release of pressure, because this trailer is pressure. So I'm not going to lunge. I'm going to just give her a walk. So I just walked to my left here, which is more side yard, and I just walked her around for a minute, let her relax, and then I came back. So that just gives her like a little breather. Like lots of horses will feel claustrophobic and be like, they're being forced into doing something. Like I don't like being forced into doing something. So if it's like, hey, can you do this for me? And then they leave me alone, I'll do it. So it's the same kind of thing with the horse. So she went and did it, and then was like, oh, I had a huge release. I took her away from the stressful thing and just let her walk for a second. And be like, yeah, you can leave from the pressure, and this is how you do it. So now she's trying hard. She's got that foot up again. So I cluck and reward. So I'd like her to touch it, like I said earlier, but if she's holding up longer, she is still trying more. So I'll reward that. We're still going in the right direction. And the amount of pressure that I'm using right now is a lot less than I had to, so I'm happy with that. But it's not constant, like pulling, get in here. It's like, okay, you can stay and relax. Okay, now let's put some pressure and go forward. So gently, barely lifted on that halter. She came forward, she didn't step up, but she did respond to it. There. Good. So I'm a cluck and reward, because she was holding that foot up. And you can do this without the positive reinforcement too. Like there, she's trying hard. There we go. But it really acts as that marker. Like when I click to her, like she knows exactly what you're doing right now is what I wanted. And I do use both, but I just think using the positive and the negative reinforcement is just double your reinforcement. Like you can be more clear to the horse, and that works out for everyone. But I mean, you can do everything the same and not use it. It's up to you. She's trying on her own. I didn't even put any halter pressure on her. There we go, and she pawed, so I'm gonna, and she left her foot up there too, so I'm gonna cluck and give her lots of grain here, because that's a huge, they're gonna give her a couple handfuls here, because that's a huge step for her. Like, she's got a foot up there, and she left it up there, and that was the horse that didn't want her feet anywhere near there, so I'm giving her a jackpot here. I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I want, and I just keep giving her a reward. So here I could have backed her off and taken her off the trailer too. That's just one form of reward versus the other. I just didn't here. I was like, kept giving her some grain, telling her that she's great. Just letting her relax and chew her food. So you can see, like, when she turned her head there, like, she was like looking out back at the trailer, but she wasn't like, oh, I need to go over there. She was just like, okay, like, she's just looking around. She's a lot more relaxed now. So this is why I left her. She was relaxed. I was like, okay, so I want this place to be a good place. So she's just gonna hang out here, eat the grain off the floor. Not a big deal. Trailer's not a terrible place. So I just let her take her foot down. That's not a big deal. And let her clean up some grain before I ask her again. She's trying on her own here. So I ask her again. I don't want to let her just eat on the floor forever. She can for a few minutes, and then we're gonna move on and try some more. So she's still at trying here. She's lifting that foot up. So that's really good. I'm just gonna take her away, let her have a quick break, and we'll come back. I just walk her around for like 30 seconds and then come back. Let's ask her again. I want her to try a little harder since she put that foot on the floor. She's holding it up but doesn't want to put it down. Keep asking, and I reward. And she thought about it and then back down. Thinking about it and then nope. Ask again. She'll come up, but she just wanted to raise that foot, so I'll release, but I'm not gonna cluck to her. Trying again, thinking about putting her foot there. There, she's pawing. And I clucked when her foot hit the ground, because I'm like, yes, I want you to put that foot in the trailer. Take her back and walk her out again. So that was another big step. So that first one she did where she just picked it up and lifted it, I'll take this because she hasn't been pawing and it did touch the floor of the trailer, so I'm gonna take that and reward it. Now she's trying even harder now. So she really had a big try right there. She brought her foot in, holding it up. There we go. And I'm just clicking when she touches the floor with her hip. Give her a reward, and then backing her out. Taking the pressure off, we'll go for a walk. We'll come back. She's trying hard. She just is pawing more and letting it hit the ground. Good. So now I'd really like her to just be still with that foot. So just sitting it on there. But the pawing is a good improvement. We just don't want her to paw forever. Some horses will stand there, paw and paw and paw and paw. So she paused right there in her paw, so I clucked it and rewarded it. Because I'm like, yeah, like leave your foot here. I'm just picking little behaviors to reward. But some horses will paw and paw and paw. And those ones I'll let them paw for a few minutes, and then I'm like, okay, like time to get in. So while they're pawing, I'll put a little pressure on them and ask for them for a little bit more. Just trying again. I'm just gonna wait for the moment where she just kind of like sets it down. Maybe not. But I'm just waiting for like a slowed paw. Just give her a few minutes, let her eat the grain off the floor. She's stretching further into the trailer too. Here. She went forward with her hind feet, so I released. There, that was better. Put her paw and explore it. we go. She set her foot on there. Perfect. Click that. Back her out and take her for a walk. So I just want that one leg to be like steady on there and be setting on the trailer. That was my goal. Just very, very close. So I click that when she kind of stopped pawing and let it set on the trailer. So I'm just being very specific, like, yes, I want you to set this leg here. Just trying again. Ask again. Release when she brings that foot up. And she went up all by herself, so I'm gonna click and I'm gonna give her lots of treats and tell her exactly, this is exactly what I want. Like, she was, before she hopped up here, she was kind of like looking like, what should I do? Like looking back to the pasture. But I'm just gonna keep clicking while she's in here. So I'll click her a few times and keep feeding her, and then I'll back her out and I'm just gonna put her back, and that's gonna be a huge reward. Be like, yes, this is exactly what I want, and then you can go do whatever you want. So release of pressure. But I love the positive reinforcement because I can tell her, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. Just a nice loose lead. She can look around, hang out. Like, it is, you gotta be careful. You gotta make sure that she's not gonna get her halter stuck on a divider or anything, or your lead rope or anything. You just wanna make sure you stay safe. Or if they don't try and spin around in there, like, there's lots of things that can happen with trailer loading, so you gotta be paying attention all the time. But I really just wanted that one foot, and she did great and gave me two. So I'm just gonna back her out gently, very gently, because I don't want to put a ton of pressure on her. Perfect. And we're just gonna hop out and take her back to her pasture. So the release of pressure is huge, or the rewards. Horses are like introverted people. Like, they just want you to leave them alone. So a huge reward is like, yeah, okay, you're done. Let's put you back to your pasture. And that's just like a huge relief. And it really works well with them. I'm just going to take her boots off and take her halter off, and she's done for the day. But like, if you're really working on something and they finally get it, like, get off. If you're riding, get off, take your saddle off, you're done. Go put them up. Or groundwork or anything like that. Just the amount of the reward is going to help your training faster than the repetition over and over and over again of the small rewards. A big reward really helps them along, just like with people. So I was really happy with that, and we'll see how she progresses, and hopefully she's loading really good here soon.